Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of General Paul J. LaCamera, Commanding General of the United States Army Pacific, welcome to America's First Corps Change of Command ceremony. Today, Lieutenant General Gary J. Valesky will change command of America's First Corps with Lieutenant General Randy A. George. The soldiers, commanders, and unit colors participating in today's ceremony represent those units attached to America's First Corps. They have assembled from Joint Base Lewis McChord, Hawaii, and Alaska to symbolize the over 4,300 soldiers that are your America's First Corps. Today's ceremony is a reflection of procedures practiced since the birth of our Army in 1775. The presence of the band represents the significant role martial music has played throughout history by instilling pride, loyalty, and courage in armies before battle. The formation of troops centered on our national flag represents the unified purpose of our Army and its willingness to make the ultimate sacrifice in the defense of our nation. Next to our national flag are our unit colors. This closest to the national flag symbolizes the trust placed in us by our nation. Before each of the unit colors, there's a symbol of pride, tradition, and history. Unit colors still serve to mark the location of an organization's headquarters and its commander. When a unit's colors are removed from the headquarters, such as for today's ceremony, they remain under guard. This is more than tradition. It is solemn recognition and devotion to the sacrifice and gallantry of all who have ever served under those colors. The task of guarding unit colors is an honor given to only the finest of soldiers. Ladies and gentlemen, America's First Corps and Joint Base Lewis McChord would like to recognize our distinguished guest for today's ceremony. Please hold your applause until it is complete. General Paul LaCamera, Commanding General, United States Army Pacific. Command Sergeant Major Benjamin Jones, U.S. Army Pacific. General Robert Abrams, Commander, United Nations Command, Combined Forces Command, and United States Forces, Korea. Command Sergeant Major Walter DeGollicood, United Nations Command, Combined Forces Command, and United States Forces, Korea, and the former Command Sergeant Major of America's First Corps. General Michael Garrett, Commanding General, United States Forces Command. Mrs. Joan Shalikashvili. Dr. Patrick McDonald, Assistant to the Secretary of State, Washington. Representative Beth Dolio from the House of Representatives. Mayor Don Anderson of Lakewood. Mayor Julie Dorr of Puyallup. Mayor J.W. Foster of Yelm. Mayor Pete Kmet of Tumwater. Mayor Ron Lucas of Steilacoom. Mayor Andy Ryder, City of Lacey. And finally, a big welcome to General Valesky's and General George's family and friends that were able to join us from all over the country, as well to our general officers, Gold Star families, community members, soldiers, retired soldiers, and civilians in attendance today. Welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to all of our distinguished guests. The reviewing officer for today's ceremony is the Commanding General of the United States Army Pacific, General Paul J. LaCamera. The host officer for today's ceremony is the Commander of America's First Corps, Lieutenant General Gary J. Valesky. The Commander of Troops for today's ceremony is America's First Corps Chief of Staff, Colonel Mario A. Diaz. Music today is provided by America's First Corps Band, the heartbeat of America's Corps. The First Corps Band is directed by Chief Warrant Officer II Robert Bruns, and the drum major is Staff Sergeant Promotable Kenneth Edra. The salute battery is from Bravo Battery 217 Field Artillery Battalion, 2-2 Striker Brigade Combat Team, and is under the direction of First Lieutenant William Carlisle and Sergeant First Class Michael Evans. The Color Guard is provided by America's First Corps Honor Guard, under the direction of America's First Corps Command Sergeant Major Shane E. Pospisil. Please direct your attention to the VIP seating area at this time. Sergeant First Class Promotable Stephen Mosley, Staff Sergeant Bobby Wilkins, and Sergeant Tori Beaver from the Sergeant Artie Murphy Club will be presenting a bouquet of red roses in full bloom to Mrs. Leanne Valesky. The roses symbolize the color of the heart, care, and concern Mrs. Valesky has shown to the soldiers and family of America's First Corps over the last 3 years. Flowers are also being presented to Lieutenant General Valesky's mother-in-law, Mrs. Joanne Schliemann, and his sister, Mrs. Renee Grachowski. Gifts are being presented to Lieutenant General Volesky's father-in-law, Mr. Dale Schliemann, brother-in-law, Mr. David Schliemann, brother-in-law, Mr. Greg Grachowski, and his brother, Mr. Steve Volesky. At this time, Staff Sergeant Promotable Ronnie Mullins from the Sergeant Audie Murphy Club is presenting a bouquet of budding yellow roses to Mrs. Patty George. The yellow color is a sign of welcome, and the budding flowers are in anticipation of things to come. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise to the invocation of America's First Corps Chaplain, Chaplain Lou Del Tufo.
Today's prayer is spoken recognizing the many faiths and traditions gathered here today. Allow me to pray for us all. Eternal God, it's with hearts full of courage that we join together today to bear witness to this historic event steeped in tradition as Lieutenant General Gary Volesky changes command with Lieutenant General Randy George. During his time in command, General Volesky has made a lasting impact on the service members and families of America's First Corps, Joint Base Lewis McChord, and the surrounding communities. I pray that as Lieutenant General George accepts this new role, that you grant him wisdom, vision, and a passion for people as he continues to be a leader of noble character, competence, and commitment for our Army and America's First Corps. Finally, I ask a special blessing for protection for our teammates, the men and women of our armed forces, and the civilians that accompany them serving courageously around the world. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. In just a moment, you will hear America's First Corps Adjutant, Colonel Elizabeth Litvin, direct the bugler to sound attention and adjutant's call as today's ceremony begins. Now taking their position on the field is the Commander of Troops for today's change of command ceremony and America's First Corps staff. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and honors. Honors authorized for General LaCamera are being rendered to Lieutenant General Volesky. Please be seated. The reviewing party will now conduct an inspection of the troops, trooping of the line. This time-honored tradition allows a commander to inspect the fitness and readiness of his soldiers while providing the soldiers the opportunity to view their commander up close. The troops show their commander their high state of readiness, devotion to duty, and willingness to carry out their mission. The 1st American Army Corps, America's first corps, was officially created in 1918. Its divisions were the first units of the American Expeditionary Force to land in France and fought in the Aisne Marne Offensive, the attack on St. Mihiel Salient, and finally the Meuse-Argonne Offensive in World War I. America's First Corps was demobilized at Tannery, France in March of 1919. America's First Corps was reactivated at Columbia, South Carolina in 1940. In the winter of 1942, America's First Corps won the first Allied victory over the Japanese on New Guinea, for which it earned the Distinguished Unit Citation. The Corps launched amphibious assaults at Papao in 1944 and later occupied the Philippines. After the war, America's First Corps remained in Japan until 1950, when it was inactivated. America's First Corps was reactivated in August of 1950 at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and departed for the Busan perimeter. The Corps broke out to link up with the United Nations forces near Incheon and drove past Seoul almost to the Yalu River. After the Chinese entry into the war, America's First Corps counterattacked and participated in heavy fighting back and forth across the 38th parallel until the armistice was signed on 27 July 1953. After the armistice, America's First Corps again became an occupational force, controlling U.S., United Nations, and Republic of Korea units in Western Korea. America's First Corps remained in Korea until 1980, when its colors were transferred to Fort Lewis, Washington. Elements of America's First Corps supported Operation Desert Storm in 1992 and Operation Iraqi Freedom in 2005. The Corps headquarters made history in spring of 2009 when it deployed to Baghdad and assumed duties as a multinational corps Iraq. With the recent completion of another Middle East tour as the International Security Assistance Force Joint Command Headquarters in Afghanistan, America's First Corps added yet another chapter to its long service to the nation. The colors you see moving forward symbolize the very soul of the United States and America's First Corps. They are a visible record of the glories of the past. They stand as a guardian over the present and serve to inspire in soldiers the loyalty, duty, and courage to achieve victory in the future. In past, the colors served as a rallying point for soldiers during the smoke and fog of battle. Today, colors are a symbol of the unit and accompany the commander wherever he may go.
Detachment, present! Halt!
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for honors to the nation. Please be seated.
Sound order arms and parade rest.
The change of command is a simple event that is rich with tradition and symbolism. Key to the ceremony is the passing of the unit colors. The colors are the commander's symbol of authority, representing his responsibility to the organization. Wherever the commander is, there also are his colors. The custodian of the colors is the command sergeant major, the senior enlisted soldier in the unit and principal advisor to the commander. The passing of the colors symbolizes the transfer of authority from the outgoing commander to the incoming commander. The passing of the colors demonstrates to the soldiers of the unit the old commander has passed the mantle of leadership to the new commander, and with this must also pass the loyalty of the soldiers. By authority of Army Regulation 600-20, paragraph 2-5 Delta, the undersigned assumes command of America's 1st Corps and Joint Base Lewis McChord. Signed, Randy A. George, Lieutenant General, USA, Commanding. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we will now conduct the retirement ceremony for Lieutenant General Gary J. Volesky, honoring Lieutenant General Volesky and his family members for their selfless service and commitment to the United States Army and the nation. The host for today's retirement ceremony is General Robert B. Abrams, Commander, United Nations Command, Combined Forces Command, and United States Forces, Korea. General Abrams is accompanied by his Command Sergeant Major, Walter de Gollicoud. Lieutenant General Volesky is joined by his wife of 35 years, Mrs. Leanne Volesky. Husser. 37. Please remain seated for the remainder of the retirement ceremony. At this time, Command Sergeant Major de Gollicoud will present Mrs. Volesky with a Distinguished Public Service Medal for her extraordinary service to America's 1st Corps and Joint Base Lewis McChord. Mrs. Volesky's unwavering commitment to improving the quality of life for soldiers, civilians, and family members will have a lasting impact on the community and reflect a great credit upon herself, America's 1st Corps, United States Army Forces Command, and the United States Army. General Abrams will now present Lieutenant General Volesky with the Distinguished Service Medal. For exception in meritorious service to the United States government in duties of great responsibility over a 36-year career, culminating as the Commanding General of America's 1st Corps and Joint Base Lewis McChord. Lieutenant General Volesky's performance is in keeping with the finest traditions of military service and reflects distinct credit upon him, the United States Army, and the Department of Defense. Signed, General James C. McConville, Chief of Staff of the Army, and the Honorable Ryan D. McCarthy, Secretary of the Army. At this time, General Abrams will present the retirement awards to Lieutenant General Volesky. Lieutenant General Volesky is being presented a certificate of appreciation from the Commander-in-Chief, a certificate of retirement from the United States Army Chief of Staff, and a Department of the Army retirement pin. Finally, General Abrams will present Lieutenant General Volesky with a flag of the United States on behalf of a grateful nation for his 36 years of service. Mrs. Valesky will now be presented with a certificate of appreciation from the United States Army Chief of Staff in support of her spouse. Ladies and gentlemen, please give another round of applause for Lieutenant General and Mrs. Valesky. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commander of the United Nations Command, Combined Forces Command, and United States Forces Korea, General Robert Abrams.
Okay, good morning. We're not off to a good start. Good morning. Okay, everybody in formation. Rest. Try to keep the noise down. So you color bearers, unseat your colors. Sergeant Major Pops, help me out. Now some of you may say, well, that's a bit extraordinary. Why is he doing that? It is not indicative of the length of my remarks. But there are 4 speakers today, which is a bit out of the ordinary. So just bear with me. Distinguished guests, fellow general officers, community leaders, friends and families of these 2 great Army senior leaders, ladies and gentlemen, welcome and thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your day for attending this ceremony. You honor us all with your presence. For me and Sergeant Major Tagg, it is great to be back at JBLM and back in the Army footprint, even if it's just for a day. Now, I know this formation very well, having officiated at the change of command ceremony 3 years ago. You all look terrific. You make us all proud. But I'm going to leave the recognition of all of you and all your accomplishments to the other speakers. Randy, congratulations on your promotion and assumption of command. You're the exact right senior leader to take command of America's First Corps, and I know you will continue the legacy of outstanding leaders that this Corps has had. My duty today here is to lead the celebration of one soldier's nearly 37 years of incredible service to our country, and to recognize the service and many sacrifices of his family. Sergeant Major Tagg and I are honored to be here and take part in this ceremony. I want to extend a special welcome to General Valesky's family in attendance today. You already saw the presentos, but his sister Renee and brother-in-law Greg Krachowski, thank you for traveling from Arizona to be with Gary today. Steve Valesky, Gary's brother, thanks for coming all the way from Louisiana. And of course, Mr. Dale and Mrs. Joanne Schliemann, Leanne's parents, and David, Leanne's brother, thank you. Thank you for your support, your steadfast support of Gary and Leanne throughout the years. Gary Valesky is a lucky man to have married into your family. And now, on to the man of the hour, one of our nation's finest warriors, a tremendous senior leader, and someone I consider myself lucky to call my good friend, Lieutenant General Gary Valesky. It's difficult to distill almost 37 years of service into 5 minutes of remarks, but here goes. The 26th Chief of Staff of the Army was fond of reminding people that soldiering is an affair of the heart, and I can't think of 2 other people who exemplify that idea as Gary and Leanne Valesky, as they have given every ounce of energy in their bodies to serving soldiers and families over an amazing career. For them, it was for love of those with whom they served. For nearly 37 years, General Valesky has led from the front by outstanding personal example and an impeccable strength of character. He has been, above all else, committed to accomplishing the mission, no matter what it was, while simultaneously taking care of the troops and families under his care. He's mentored, developed, coached, literally thousands of bright young leaders throughout his years of service, leaving behind a legion of committed, dedicated, and loyal professionals who are carrying the torch for our Army today. He has served in both the operational and institutional Army with distinction, completely selfless in every regard. When asked, "Hey Gary, what do you want to do next?" Gary always responded with, "Whatever the Army needs me to do." So he's taken on some of the hardest, least glamorous, most complex jobs and made a hugely positive impact wherever he went. Jobs like Chief of Doctrine at the Infantry School, Corps Deputy Chief of Staff. He didn't even get to be the Chief of Staff. Chief of Public Affairs for the Army. He always left his piece of the Army better than how he inherited it. Now, his bio is in the program. You all can see it. 7 operational deployments, 6 in combat, including service in Operation Desert Storm, 4 tours in Iraq, and a tour in Afghanistan. As the commanding general of the 101st Airborne, he led the U.S. military effort in Liberia to fight the Ebola outbreak. And he followed that deployment with his last tour in Iraq as the Combined Joint Force Land Component Command for Operation Inherent Resolve, where he set the conditions for the retaking of Mosul in late 2016. When the Army had a near impossible mission to be accomplished, it turned to Gary Volesky to get it done. Now, I met then Lieutenant Colonel Volesky for the very first time in June 2003. He had been in command of 2-5 Cav, the Lancers, for about a year, and I was the brand new brigade commander of the Iron Horse Brigade. And like all new commanders, after the change of command ceremony, I set off on my 30-day assessment of the outfit. And this assessment was going to be different, as we knew our deployment order to Operation Iraqi Freedom was coming soon, and there would not be a lot of time to prepare. Little did I know that Ranger Volesky had his own plan, and that was to do his own assessment of the new brigade commander. See, Volesky and Abrams, we come from 2 completely different tribes. Gary was generally a light infantry guy who had some questions about the fitness and toughness of the new brigade commander, an armored cavalryman. So he invited me for a 5-mile run with the battalion officers one hot Fort Hood summer morning, followed immediately by a military stakes round robin supervised by the battalion command sergeant major and senior non-commissioned officers from the Lancers, with more running involved with rucksack. By the end, we learned a lot about each other, as well as a lot about his officers and non-commissioned officers. I learned they were a tight-knit, motivated, and team-oriented formation. You couldn't help but admire their spirit and grit and their commitment to each other. They learned that they should not try to smoke the new brigade commander. We were off to a great relationship. Now, Gary will tell you that he has taught me a few other things over time, like how to play golf. I will not argue that today, but I will make a public challenge to see him on a course after both of us have retired. Now, I've got a lifetime of memories from our service together. Most of them are good. Some of those memories conjure up emotions of sacrifice and life-changing wounds from intense combat, fallen heroes, families whose lives were changed forever in an instant. For us, like many of you in the audience, there are some days that stay with you forever. For us, it's 4/04/2004. Those shared sacrifices are what makes the bonds of soldiering together unbreakable. And 16 years later, it still feels like it was just last year. General Volesky has led every other combat formation since then with the same passion and love for soldiers. He's one of our Army's finest trainers. He was committed to never sending a soldier into harm's way who was not trained and ready. He was equally passionate in ensuring our Army families were cared for and had the necessary support structure to sustain the strain of multiple back-to-back deployments. Now, for those of you who know the Valeskis, you know that the real hero in that family is Leanne Valesky. At every level, Leanne has volunteered countless hours supporting her husband's units. She's been a tireless advocate for soldiers and families. She said farewell to every flight from her husband's units and welcomed every flight back. She's cared for our wounded. She's comforted our Gold Star families and been the rock that everyone relied on for moral support, a shoulder to cry on, and sometimes just to be a good listener. She's attended far too many memorial services. And all the while, she and Gary raised an amazing son and young man, Alex, their pride and joy. Leanne, I know that every minute Gary was away, he wanted to be with his family, with you and Alex. And there's nothing that he loves more. So thank you. Thank you for all your support to Gary. He could not have done any of this without you by his side. And thank you for all you have done to support soldiers and families over the years. You've been simply an inspiration to all of us. And I know that Alex wishes he could be here today to celebrate with you both, and I know he is very proud of both of you. So in the event that word gets to him, Alex, we wish you the best of luck at school, and we all know that you're crushing it. Gary, it's been my absolute honor to serve alongside you. Thank you. Thank you for your strong leadership. Thank you for being a leader of immense character. Thank you for your nearly 37 years of devoted service to our nation. Connie and I wish you both the very best as you head off to your next adventure in Huntsville, Alabama. We all wish you Godspeed and safe travels. Army Strong. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Commanding General of United States Army Pacific, General Paul LaCamera.
No pressure. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today. A special thank you to our Gold Star wives and members of the Gold Star Wives of America in attendance. Please join me in a round of applause to recognize our Gold Star families. Other distinguished guests, fellow general officers, commanders, command sergeant majors, and to the men and women of First Corps, thank you for being here to show your support to great Army families and their leaders. In preparing my remarks, I recognized that I was following General Abrams and many others in our futile attempt to capture this day for our Army, INDOPACOM, FORCECOM, and most importantly, America's Corps, First Corps. I suppose I could talk about General Valesky's Corps' many accomplishments, run a bunch of statistics, Hollywood to Bollywood, polar bears to penguins. Gary's been the point man in INDOPACOM, working our Army west of the international date line and creating a free and open Indo-Pacific. But how do you honor not only his leadership and service to the Corps, but 35 plus years of decorated and humble service? I know Hollywood and the media have tried, and they've fallen very short. Instead, I'm going to use two Vince Lombardi quotes. I know Gary's a Lombardi fan, and I know he's a Green Bay Packer fan. It could be from Vince's time with the Redskins also, but I'm going to go with the two quotes here. Lombardi said that the most competitive games draw the most competitive people. General Valesky is one of the most competitive people I know, and he's a great competitor. It shows in the units he leads, both in and out of combat. You want him on your side and on your flank, and it's been my honor to serve on both. He has competed in the ultimate contact sport and performed magnificently. And the men and women who stand behind me are a true testament to that. Please join me in a round of applause for their service. The second quote is, "Leaders are made and not born." The quote is much longer than that, but I'll leave it to you and the internet for you to get the rest of it. But just bear with me on the beginning. Well, General Volesky has spent a little time making leaders, many in attendance today and many who will continue to serve. Gary and you and Leanne have left their mark on many, this Corps and especially me. I will disagree with Coach Lombardi and say you were born to this. Well done, Ranger. Bravo Zulu. Leanne, thank you for your service and many sacrifices. It has been our honor to serve with you, and Teresa and I wish the both of you the best as you continue to serve. To the Georges, congratulations. The reward for good work is more work. You are the right leader to continue what Gary has started in the free and open Pacific. And I know you and I will continue to move what Bob and Gary have done to new heights. As we discussed on the field, and for those, one of the things I always tell commanders as I hand the colors is the only thing our soldiers deserve is good leadership. Gary, I know you provided that, and Randy, I know you will provide that. I wish you the best of luck. God bless both of you. God bless the Georges. Thank you all for being here. This will defend.
Ladies and gentlemen, the former Commanding General of America's 1st Corps and Joint Base Lewis-McChord, Lieutenant General Gary Volesky.
In keeping up with tradition, I'll put my glasses on. Randy, you're a young guy. I think you'll break the tradition here. Hey, good morning. My name is Gary Volesky, and I'm a courage soldier for life. I want to recognize right up front a personal hero of mine, Staff Sergeant Ziegler, who's come from Florida. He was a soldier of mine in 6-9 Cav that was shot 4 times at Fort Hood, Texas by a terrorist, frankly, and he's here today. And Patrick, I just want to say, you're the most resilient man I've met, and it's frankly an honor to have you here. So please give him a round of applause for me. General officers, commanders, and command sergeants major, community leaders, distinguished guests, family, friends, and most importantly, the soldiers of America's 1st Corps. I'd like to give a shout out to Sergeant Major Grant and Tisha Crespin for doing all the coordination and planning for this change of command. This is a superb event because of your outstanding efforts. Thanks to the Salute Battery, the Honor Guard, and especially America's 1st Corps Band. Hey, Chief. They said I would never realize my dream of hearing Iron Man played at an Army ceremony. You proved them all wrong. Thanks for what you and your team have done in making these special and promoting the Courage brand over the last 3 years. Please give them a round of applause as well. I want to thank all of my friends and colleagues that I've had the honor of serving with for over the last 36 years for being here. I can't possibly name you all. You're all dear to my heart, and it's a testament to your sheer curiosity that you would come to make sure that I was in fact leaving the Army and that I really was still in it. But thank you for coming. I'm just proud to say that I got to serve with each and every one of you. You made a huge difference in my life. Thanks to my sister, Renee, her husband, Greg, my brother, Steve, brother-in-law, Dave, for traveling all across the country to be here and for all of your support during my career. You guys are awesome. To my second set of parents, Dale and Joanne Schliemann, you've been the rock both Leanne and I have leaned on, and I can't thank you enough for what you have done for us over the past 3 decades. Thank you for being such great parents to Leanne and me, and even better grandparents to our national treasure, our son Alex. Having you both here today at our last official military ceremony is really special. I'd like to thank all of our Army senior leaders for being here. I'm humbled that you could attend. I have served with most of you personally in combat over the past decade, and each of you have made me a better officer. To General Garrett, thanks for what you've done for our Army in keeping us ready to go into combat. I appreciate the guidance and support you've afforded to the Corps over the last year, and we are ready to deploy, fight, and win because of your efforts and guidance. Thank you, sir. General LaCamera, I've known and served with you for over 25 years. It is awesome that you're in command of USARPAC, and I know that through your outstanding efforts, the Army is going to remain relevant in the Pacific. I will never forget our time serving together in combat in Iraq. You are what I aspired to be there. You're a true warrior, and I'm honored to say I got to serve with you. And finally, to General Abrams, you've been my coach, mentor, and teacher for the past 16 years, and I know our bond's going to last a lifetime. You're my battle buddy in our shared hardship in Sadr City, Iraq in 2004, and your personal actions on behalf of our killed and wounded soldiers, not only then, but that entire year, are things I'll never be able to repay. You remain the standard bearer for me as the example of what Army leaders should be. Please thank Miss Connie for all she's also done for Leanne, the Bolesky family, and our Army. I'd also like to thank you for dragging along that Sergeant Major with you. Sergeant Major Tagg, another phenomenal combat leader that I've been honored to serve with in both Division and Corps Command. Welcome back to JBLM. It's an honor seeing you again. Please say hi to Miss Carolyn for us back in the land of, Korea. The community around JBLM is world class. What an honor it has been for Leanne and me to finish our career at the place we both started our Army journey. As I mentioned, we arrived 3 years ago. It was like Leanne and I won the lottery to be able to return to JBLM after 30 years. Thank you for what you've done in taking care of all of our servicemen and women and their families. I'd like to thank my DCGs, the Corps staff, and the Joint Base Garrison for what they've done personally in helping the units and service members at JBLM be prepared for combat and continue to improve the quality of life for those on base. I appreciate your passion and your drive to make things better every day. We could not have done what we did without your outstanding efforts. Miss Deb, Mike Fuller, Gordy Flowers, Jen Brown, and all of our civilian professionals that have done incredible things and been instrumental in enabling the Corps to do what it does. As soldiers come and go, you're the continuity that keeps the ship steady. Thank you for what you've done in enabling the Corps to focus on deploying and getting ready to deploy. To my two Ranger buddies, Colonel Mario Diaz and Command Sergeant Major Pospisil. You know, the Chief's been with me almost my entire time as a Corps commander, and Mario, this is hard to say goodbye, so I won't say goodbye. I'll just say thanks. It's been an honor for me to stand side by side with you at the helm of this Corps. And Sergeant Major Pospisil, man, I can't believe it's only been a short time. You made a huge, huge impact across this entire installation since you've been here. You both have done amazing things, not just for the Corps, but for all of JBLM. You've improved our readiness and the quality of life, and I'll never forget your passion, your focus on maintaining and enforcing higher standards, and your will to win. I want to congratulate Lieutenant General, I'll say that again because I know it's awesome, Lieutenant General Randy George on taking command of America's First Corps. Randy and I served together as colonels in Iraq, and I can think of no finer officer to take command of this unit. Randy, Leanne and I wish you and Patty the best of luck as you take the helm of the Corps. I know you're going to take the Corps to new heights, and you're going to start tomorrow at your warfighter. And finally, to my awesome, gorgeous hunk of female and soulmate, Leanne. Joan, I did not say lovely. I'm not sure why you hung in with me for the past 37 years, but I'm really glad you did. You're the best thing that ever happened to me, and you made me better than I ever could have been. You handled everything the Army threw at us, raised our son Alex for the first 6 years of his life while I was preparing her on a deployment, and you've always been there for me. You're the one I owe the most, and I look forward to refilling that love bank as we start our next adventure together. I really dig you. Over the past few months, people have asked me what I'm going to do next, and I tell them I really don't know. They always follow up, well, what's your passion? And that's a much easier question to answer. My passion has always been and will be the soldiers we see in front of us this morning. They defend our way of life. They serve a noble cause. They are the ones that raised their right hand and took an oath to defend something greater than themselves, even if it cost them their lives. Someone once said real heroes wear the flag of their country on the right arm of their uniform, and I couldn't agree more. As long as God allows me to live on this earth, you are always going to be my heroes. Nothing will ever compare to the time and the honor I've had to serve with each and every one of you. Again, thank you for all attending this ceremony today. Please keep our deployed soldiers and their families, and especially our Gold Star families, in your thoughts and prayers. It is because of their efforts and sacrifice that we stand as the greatest nation on the face of the earth. God bless you. God bless America. God bless America's First Corps. Army strong, one team, freedom's guardian, courage.
At this time, Lieutenant General Volesky is being presented with a brass shell casing from First Lieutenant William Carlisle, Bravo Battery 217 Field Artillery. Ladies and gentlemen, Commanding General of America's First Corps and Joint Base Lewis McChord, Lieutenant General Randy George.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I want to start off by thanking the Voleskys first and foremost. It's been an amazing transition with them from months back, and can't thank you, General Volesky, you and Leanne, enough for all you did for a smooth transition for us. Patty and I are excited to be here in the Pacific Northwest. General LaCamera, sir, I'm excited to work for you again in the Pacific rather than the Middle East. Maybe. I promise we'll be respectful teammates. We will work to become absolute experts at our craft, athletes that can thrive in difficult conditions, and disciplined soldiers who constantly take the initiative. I want to thank all my family and friends for traveling here. Like I said, this is our first time up in the Pacific Northwest. We did have a mountain sighting, I think, a couple of days ago, so we do know that it's out there, but this has been at the top of our list for 30 years, so it just shows you that persistence does pay. If you keep pressing long enough, you will make it happen. And I look forward to meeting all the great community members that are just outside the gate here. I've heard many great things about the Joint Base Lewis McChord community, and Patty and I look forward to getting to know everyone. And I am excited. I don't know about the Corps staff, but I am excited for the warfighter. I'm looking forward to it. Courage.
At this time, Lieutenant General George is being presented a brass shell casing from Sergeant First Class Michael Evans, Bravo Battery 217 Field Artillery.
Sound, attention! Sound, officers and colors, post march!
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise to the playing of the First Corps and Army songs. The words can be located in the back of your program. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Commanding General and Command Sergeant Major of America's First Corps, we wish to thank you for your attendance at today's ceremony. Lieutenant General and Miss Valesky will remain in the front of the reviewing stand area for those wishing to say farewell. Have a wonderful First Corps day. My name is Staff Sergeant Christopher Williams, the voice of courage.